live look at the EBT community. So my good friend Cam Higbee found out that EBT educations at HBCUs are only breeding grounds for hate. You remember Ruby, who went to the school that was all white back in the 60s and the 50s, and she went to the school and all the white folks in the crowd, they didn't want her to be there because they knew what the future held. That's you right now, Cam. Cam, you finding out what it's like to be a freedom fighter.
This is John Paul King. He is the ire of comedian Aries Spears.
Well, you went at it with this guy named John Paul King.
I hate that. I hate that. You know, people like him, Jason Whitlock, Terrence K. Williams. Where's Harriet Tubman when you need him? I hate that. He throws black people under the bus every chance he gets. He sent out a recent post where he was defending the woman who called the autistic black kid the N-word.
Yeah.
But he defended...
That's just so nasty.
He was running with the narrative that she was saying she's getting death threats, so she needs the money to relocate. And so he was going, well, what kind of that this poor woman is getting death threats to the point where she needs to relocate. He always refers to the black community as the EBT community.
Oh.
A lot of his clips, he'll start out with a black person saying whatever, then it cuts immediately to him and he goes, so let's see what they're doing today in the EBT community.
Deeply offensive, and yet unsurprising coming from a MAGA influencer because it is quite textbook. Furthermore.
So, even more proof that liberal women should not have babies and should not be allowed to procreate, which I am all for now, them going down to Planned Parenthood and making less liberals. I'm all for it. As long as conservative women repopulate this world, the world will be a better place. But that being said, dear liberal women, if you're pregnant, and the president and the FDA and whoever else, Jean-Claude Van Damme, for all I care, if they said stop taking Tylenol when you're pregnant, it causes... Why would y'all just down a bunch? Like, does that make sense to anyone but me? Does that make sense to y'all? Because it makes nothing to me. You would jeopardize your child. Oh, I'm talking to liberal women. Wait, what's a woman? What's a woman?
This doofus wants to bring back Planned Parenthood, though the data shows women seek out abortion no matter their political ideology. He claims to trust people without a medical degree and likely cannot pronounce acetaminophen like the president, so he says Tylenol, and is running with a conspiracy theory that has not been proven true, likely so Dr. Oz can make more money through this grift of an administration. Truly unreal piece of analysis.
So he's like a male Candace Owens?
Oh, he's worse than Candace Owens.
He's worse than Candace Owens.
He's Stevens, my boy, from Django. He's Sam Jackson. If the ball's sick, we sick. I can't stand this mother. And he also is telling me, man, if you ever come to Orlando, I'm gonna come to your show and I'm gonna slap the shit. I said, all right. I said, listen, you don't ever have to worry about me. It'll be the don't see. You know what I mean?
Spears spills the tea on the two having beef and a potential threat of violence from King, though it must be made clear it's not just him.
My decision to skip the inauguration, you know, what people don't realize, or my decision to make choices at the beginning of this year that suited me were met with such ridicule and criticism. Like, people couldn't believe that I was saying no for any other reason, that they had to assume that my marriage was falling apart.
Right.
You know, it's like, while I'm here really trying to own my life and intentionally practice making the choice that was right for me, and it took everything in my power to not do the thing that was right, or that was perceived as right, but do the thing that was right for me.
Spears also came for this dude, Terrence K. Williams.
Y'all, look at this crowd. Look at him. Are we ready for Donald J. Trump? Yes. We have finally been unburdened by what has been. Joe Biden, get the hell out the White House. Joe Biden got one more day to get the hell out of the White House, because we are getting our country back.
Couldn't cut it in comedy, and thus, like many, he pivoted.
How do you sleep at night doing that? How do you sleep at night?
Look, you
Terrence K. Williams, Michelle Obama did some interview recently where I guess her hair was made up a certain way and she had these braids coming down. So he tried to make fun of her by dressing up like her and doing that. And this dude is a hardcore MAGA supporter. He practically sucks the doo-doo out of Trump's. You know, he loves Trump to death. And I'm just going, and listen, as a comedian, nobody is above being made fun of. But my thing is, not by you. You don't get to do that. Because I go, you don't have a black mother, a black grandmother, black people in your family that fought and marched during the civil rights era so that we could have a black president and a black first lady, and that's what you want to do? You want to mock the first black lady? You should be ashamed of yourself.
How has the woke left and the censorship impacted comedy?
Well, Kamala Harris and the Democrats are so dumb that they make it easy for me to joke around. They make it easy. I don't even have to write jokes anymore because the Democrats are the jokes. Kamala Harris is the joke. She is so dumb. I can just mention her name and people will laugh because she's just that silly and just stupid, you know? They do some of the craziest things that you would think would be comedy, but it's really not. It's reality. Like, the White House has turned into the clown house.
And is it any surprise he made that pivot?
Because the Supreme Court has paved the way for half the stuff that we see that's going on. Listen, Donald Trump is a piece of okay, we know that. Yes, he is. But in a functioning democracy, he still would not be able to get away with this. But he's been able to get away with this because the House Republicans are complicit. He's been able to get away with this because Senate Republicans are complicit. But most importantly, the courts, especially the Supreme Court, is complicit. And so I think one of the places that we have to start is we are absolutely, they are the highest court in the land, and they have no ethics guardrails. Now you go down to the lower courts, and they do. How much sense does that make? When we know that they're taking money, we have the paper trail, and they refuse to put guardrails on themselves, so it's time for us to do it for them.
Child, and another thing, okay? That piece of he the reason why my eyelashes going up, okay? I ain't never had to pay. These was $1.99, okay? Before this president got in office, before him and these racist white folks took over, okay? I was paying $1.99 for these. I don't even want to put them on, okay? I gotta say these because now they done went up to $2. They done went up a penny under this president. A penny. It ain't the immigrants that they be talking about. It's the president. These went up because of Donald Trump. That piece of not because of the immigrants, okay? So, I mean, like, child, baby, if these white folks ain't gonna do nothing, I'm gonna have to step up and do everything. The Supreme Court and the Republic, they are complicit. And these eyelashes going up. They complicit. Talk about because of the size, they large, so they gotta go up a penny, okay? So I'm just saying, child, I'm not finna sit back and let these white folks take over and remove me from office and all of that. It ain't happening, okay?
Just look at the material and, you'll have your answer.
And again, comedically, if it's coming from a pure comedic place, I don't have a problem with that. But I know who you are, so it's not coming from that place. It's not coming from that place. You want to do some to make all the white folks you're their mascot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. Look, he's doing it.
Yeah.
It saves them from having to deal with guilt and having to deal with who they are. So here with that.
Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.